What if the key to understanding our world lies within the divine feminine energy that many overlook, not as a myth, not as a metaphor, but as a living frequency, ancient, sacred, and pulsing beneath every forgotten altar, every whispered prayer, every mother's gaze since time began, before history was written by conquerors, before gods were sculpted in iron and war, there was her. She was not named because she was known. The earth was her body, the moon her breath. The waters flowed where her fingers once traced the land. And every altar carved from stone, wood, or flame bore silent witness to her presence. In every corner of the ancient world, the divine feminine was honored not just as a deity, but as a force, the source of creation and destruction, the womb of stars and silence. She was Inanna of Sumer, rising from the underworld with bloodied hands and sovereign eyes. She was Isis, weaving the fragments of Osiris into resurrection. She was Kali, both wrath and mercy. She was Hina, rising with the tides of the Pacific, luminous and free. Yet, as ages turned and empires rose, the altars changed. Where once stood sanctuaries to the mother, the healer, the lover, and the oracle, there came swords, systems, and silence. The feminine was not merely dismissed, it was dissected, domesticated, and dethroned. Her intuition was renamed hysteria, her softness called weakness, her cycles labeled curses, her rage taboo, and so the world tilted. Linear logic replaced sacred rhythm. Conquest triumphed over communion. We built monuments that pierced the sky, but forgot how to listen to the soil. The divine feminine was not lost, she was buried. Beneath doctrine, beneath shame, beneath centuries of forgetting, but not forever. Across oceans and deserts, in temples half swallowed by roots, the altars still whisper, and they are not ruins, they are remembering. Because to understand the divine feminine is to understand the pulse beneath form. She is not defined by gender, but by presence. The divine feminine is receptivity. It is the art of becoming, not forcing. It is feeling before explanation. It is the intuition that guides before thought has shaped. It is water, yielding yet invincible. Darkness, fertile, not feared. The void from which light emerges, and those who ignore her, who suppress or mock her wisdom, do so at a great cost. Look around. Burnout is worshipped as ambition. Empires crumble from emotional starvation. Leadership divorced from empathy leads only to domination. A world without the feminine becomes a world without nurture, without grace, without the quiet knowing that precedes all true transformation. We see the symptoms in society, the glorification of control, the fear of stillness, the distrust of emotion, the punishment of vulnerability. But a shift is stirring. From the boardroom to the birthing room, the divine feminine is rising, not in opposition to the masculine, but in sacred dance with it. She emerges through women reclaiming their sovereignty, through men softening into their hearts, through children raised to feel deeply, not perform endlessly. And in our temples, modern or ancient, she speaks again. In Bali, priestesses bless water as the tears of the goddess. In South America, women gather in moon circles, remembering blood as sacred. In Africa, the rhythm of drums still echoes the heartbeat of the Earth Mother. In Europe, witches once burned are now authors, healers, and elders. Each act is an altar. Every time someone chooses rest over endless doing, they build an altar. Every time a person honors their intuition, rather than ignoring it for logic, they restore the altar. Every time we embrace softness as strength, emotion as wisdom, and darkness as the source of light, we kneel before the ancient altar that never forgot us. Because the divine feminine is not a relic, she is a revolution. She does not seek control, only coherence. Not submission, but surrender. Not hierarchy, but harmony. And her power is not in thunder, but in tide. not in fire alone, but in the space where fire chooses not to burn. Her strength is the knowing that does not need to be spoken. Her presence is what softens the hardest of walls, simply by being. And when we embrace her, not as myth but as mirror, we are transformed. Consider this. A hardened CEO pauses to weep for the first time in decades and feels more whole than any bonus ever made him. A mother reclaims her body not as burden, but as temple. A man releases the armor of performative masculinity and discovers freedom in tenderness. A teenager chooses poetry over performance and touches the divine. These are not just stories, they are initiations. The divine feminine is not just rising, she is remembering herself through us. In the ashes of burned witches, she rises. In the lullabies of new mothers, she sings. In the silence between heartbeats, she listens. And now, she asks of you, not worship, but witnessing. Not adoration, but integration. She does not want you to bow. She wants you to become. Become the altar. Become the offering. Become the remembrance. Because when we honor the divine feminine, not just in women, but in all of life, we restore the sacred order of things. And only then will the world finally begin to heal. So sit with her. Speak to her. Surrender what no longer serves. Let softness crack open your strength. Let stillness guide your movement. Let mystery be your teacher. And in doing so, you will not only reshape your story, you will reshape history. Because to reclaim the divine feminine is to remember the original blueprint, the one etched in stars, the one that predates kings and prophets, the one still waiting in the altar of your soul.